60 states, right, in order to fetch and execute the instructions, right? It has got 5 instructions. Those instructions are LDA, add, sub, out, and halt. 5 instructions are there. So in order to execute these instructions, right, micro instructions are generated, right? So which method is suitable for generating the micro instruction if number of instructions are less? Less number of instructions are there. So which method you will use to generate the micro instructions? Diksha Sinha, do you know how these micro instructions are generated in SAP 1 system? Diksha Sinha.
Yes, sir. So,
Yes. How these micro instructions are generated?
sir, I joined a little late, so I could not hear what he said in the starting.
Okay. But in last class also I said same thing, no? So in last class also I said same thing. Till now we have discussed only about the SAP 1 system, right? When PC is outed, how it is outed? During T1 state, PC is outed, program counter is outed, and content of program counter is loaded to MAR. During that, 2 control signals are going to be active, right? And I am just showing you SAP 1 architecture from here. SAP 1. SAP 1. Yes. Copy it. Paste. Diksha?
Yes, sir.
Now you can see this block diagram.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible? Now, in order to execute the program or instruction, during T1 state, program counter is outed. So, which are the 2 control signals has to be active during T1? Tell me quickly. Now, I'm just changing the question now, right? In order to transfer the content of memory location to accumulator, which are the 2 control signals has to be active? Now question is clear. In order to transfer the content of a memory location, right, to accumulator, which are the 2 control signals has to be active? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Which are the 2 control signals has to be active? Clock, na? This is section A, right? So, of course, so this will help us in the during our this laboratory Viva Voce also. That whatever question I'm asking right now, right, it will be in our mind while taking the Viva Voce. So, of course, I will take the Viva Voce of section A only. Laboratory Viva Voce will be conducted by me only, right? And whatever things we have discussed and way you people are responding over here, right? You right? Nobody is responding. Okay. Anyway, so there is no point in just going back once again explaining all those things, right? How many times I should repeat? How much time I have invested in just explaining each and every hardware circuitry, right, which is related to, right, these say computer systems and all, right? Like we discussed. I'll just go back once again to that slide, SAF1 slide, right? In this where microcontroller, digital computer. So see what are the things we have discussed. We started with this very simple logic circuit, right? And then how an inverter is actually you can design, right? These things we discussed. Then how different logic gates you can implement or design, and using this logic gates are these. Using logic gates and this inverter circuitry, we can design encoder and decoder, right? So these all these circuitries are actually used in a computer system. So we discussed all these things, right? Again, here you can see decimal to binary encoder, and in fact this is keyboard encoder. You can say 0 to 9, and it is if you press this 0 key, then 00 will be generated. So how keyboard are actually encoded, right? Similarly here register enable also we discussed, right? Register enable we discussed. So here in SAF1, in this SAF1, if you want to transfer this content of RAM over to this accumulator, then then what we need to do, we have to enable this RAM. So C bar has to be active, right? So data from RAM will come out and it will be loaded to accumulator if this LA bar is active, right? So during a single clock pulse, you have to enable this RAM chip and this LA bar has to be active so that data from RAM will be loaded to this. So all these circuitry we discussed earlier, right? While discussing the SAF1, you can see enable, right? Then next here this instruction decoder also we discussed, right? 4-bit instructions is there. Then 16 different 4-bit instruction code is there. Then 16 different instruction we can design using this 4-bit code, right? So in 8085 240 256 instruction we can have, because our this instruction code is of 8-bit length out of 256, right? Different codes we are using only 246 instruction codes, right? So it is there. So these circuitry, right, we discussed here how a register will be inverted, right? So if you want to complement the content of register, then this inverter circuit is there, right? Similarly for comparing the two values, right? We discussed how a looping condition is checked, whether loop is over or not. So count value is incremented and it is compared with the final count. So B register, A register, both are equal, then this flag will be set. So similarly, equal flag or zero flag, right, will be set. So flag register is also there. Then you can see adder circuit, how a adder circuit can be converted to subtractor circuit. That also we discussed using this SU equal to 0. This circuitry is going to work as adder. While if you make SU equal to 1, that time same circuitry will become subtractor circuit, right? So this adder subtractor circuitry is there in SAF1 architecture, where SU is the control signal for performing the sub and add operation. So if you want, if the instruction is for say sub instruction, subtracting something, then after decoding the instruction, this control line will be made 1. And if instruction is add, then after decoding the add instruction, this SU control line will be 0. So these two numbers will be added. So all these things we discussed earlier. The next flip-flop also, right? So how flip-flop can be used to design to store a data, right? Here 4-bit loading parallelly we discussed, right? 4-bit data loading parallelly, right? And how the loaded data is stored back, that also we discussed over here with each clock pulse hitting. Then here loading and shifting is there. All this circuitry we discussed earlier, right? And after discussing all these circuitry, right, here you can see program counter also we discussed. 4-bit program counter, it keep on counting the what, how many instructions are executed. And in fact count value, right, is stored in program counter actually gives you the address of the instruction which has to be executed by the processor. So it is there, right? And then here you can see a ring counter which actually tells the system that this is T1, this is T2, this is T3. Like our clock or timetable is telling us that this today 9 o'clock will be microprocessor, tomorrow 9 o'clock again microprocessor will be there, Thursday also 9 o'clock microprocessor lecture will be there. But at 10 o'clock something else you have to do, right? Some other lecture you have to attend. Similarly during T1 PC will be out here, during T2, right, PC will be implemented, during T3 instruction from memory will be fetched. All these things we discussed earlier in detail, right? Then how to read data from a register or how to load data onto a register by having two different commands. Say, right, load control signal is here and enable control signal is here. Now using these two control signal, we can have a bus system like this, right? And you can transfer data from one register to another register without having any bus contention, right? Bus contention, this concept also we discussed, right? If you want to transmit, if you want to copy the content of say, register A to register B, right, then only register A and B has to be active, right, in a single clock pulse. Now we have to transfer content of register A, so enable A has to be active from here, and here load of this register has to be active. So the data from here will be outed onto the bus and it will be loaded over here, right? So these things we discussed. Then how, right, we can store data in a ROM circuitry, that also we discussed, right? Here you can see from these lines A0, A1, A2 address are coming. This one is the decoder, address decoder circuitry, right? And based on this address, a typical ROM location is actually activated, and from there data is coming out via these pins. So all these things we discussed earlier before coming to this SAP1, right? So you can see in this 2048 different location, in each location we have 8-bit data is stored, and for 2048 how many bit address lines are there? A0 to A10 7FF, you can see. So these are the address lines, right? These are the data pins, these are the address pins, these are the data pins, and this with this enable control signal data will be outed. If enable is 0, then whatever address is sent, right, of course it will be decoded, it will point to that location, but since this enable is not there, data will be not coming out of that location. So you have to make this enable. So similarly, right, here in this SAP1 you can see, if you want to read data from this RAM location, first of all you have to send the address and you have to enable this RAM, C bar is chip enable. So if you enable this, then only data will come out. So all these things we discussed earlier, right? Then here next we came to this SAP1, right? So in this SAP1 we discussed program counter, input NMAR, 16:8 RAM, instruction register, accumulator, adder, subtractor, B register, output register, and all these components are actually connected with this 8-bit data bus, right? And each component, program counter, accumulator, adder, subtractor, B register, output register, all are having some control signal associated with right, associated with. So if we CP, EP, LM bar, C bar, all these are the different control signals. And these control signals has to be, right, activated, right, in different T states in order to execute and fetch and execute the instructions. So for fetching, during T1 EP LM bar is active, during T2 CP is active, during T3 C bar LI bar is active. So during T1 program counter is outed loaded to MMR, during T2 CP is active, so program counter will be implemented. During T3 C bar LI bar is active, so instruction from memory comes out and it goes to instruction register. So this way it proceeds. So who is generating these control signal? In fact, this controller sequencer is generating these control signals, right? And these control signals are generated with the help of hardware control matrix that also we discussed in this. Okay, hardware control matrix. In fact, we discussed in using this one ebook we have, right? In this KP Malvina. Here we discuss hardware control matrix, right? SAF1. Yeah, you can see, right? We discussed this, no? अब ये सारी चीजें हम यहाँ पे कर रहे हैं. All these things we are discussing, and you people simply, what you have done, you have joined this meeting, and this one is the 8-bit processor. This is 8-bit processor, right? Developed in 1976, right? So that time, of course, this control room was there. Still, right? Control room is there, right? These days also for just decoding the instructions and generating the machine cycles, right? And once these machine cycles are encoded, then the micro instructions are generated from the control room only. Anyway, but see, in the lab also, when we will talk about, when we will have Viva course, no, right? These things will be asked, right? These things will be asked, like control room, microprogramming, variable machine cycle, right? Off state, right? In fact, all these terms will be used while discussing 8085, 8086, right? Also, so if you are not familiar with these terms, how we are going to proceed? Diksha, 20 minutes left, so I will start from here. Say 8085 is a 8-bit processor. Why it is 8-bit? Because it can handle, right, 8-bit data at a time. Its internal data bus is of 8-bit length. 8 wires are there. So suppose we want to transfer data from one place to another place at a time, it will, right, only 8-bit data can be transmitted parallelly, right? If it is reading data from memory, it will read 8-bit at a time. If it is writing data onto the memory, it will write 8-bit at a time, right? Even though addition, subtraction, all these 16-bit addition, 16-bit right, addition, if this 8085 performs, it performs this 16-bit addition in 2 steps. First of all, it adds the 2 lower bytes, right? Then stores back the result. Then, right, higher order 8 bits are added along with the previous carry, right? And then a result is stored back. So it is a 8-bit processor, right? And in fact, this address bus limits the how many bit this processor can process at a time. So only 8 bits are there. So data will come only 8 bits. So it will process only 8 bit. So 8-bit processor, right? It has got general purpose register like B. You can see B register is of 8 bit, C register is of 8 bit, D register, E register, H register, L registers are of 8 bit each, right? Accumulator is another register over here. You can see in this left hand side. Okay, if I go to this presentation, now you can track my mouse. See, I am pointing over here. This one is the accumulator, right? This is of 8 bit. 8-bit accumulator is there, and it is connected to arithmetic logic unit. It is 8 bit, right? A temporary register is also there. You can see a temporary register is also there. This is also connected to this. This is temporary register is of 8 bit, and it is connected to arithmetic logic unit. Now, this arithmetic logic unit is going to have 2 operands. Temporary, right? Temporary is one operand, and second operand is accumulator. Now, arithmetic logical operation can be performed with these 2 operands only, right? Now, based on this arithmetic and logical operation, right? Suppose we are subtracting 2 numbers, 2 8-bit numbers, 2 8-bit data, and both data are same. In that case, A minus temporary will be equal to 0, right? So result of this subtraction will be what? 0 0 0. So all bits will be 0 0 0. This is right. 8-bit result will be 0 0 0. So based on this result, here in this flag register, right, 0 flag will be set to 1. If arithmetic logical operation results in 0, then 0 flag, this flip-flop will be set to 1. Now suppose we are adding 2 numbers, 80 and 80, right? 8 is 1, these many zeros are there. Then this is also 8, this is 0. So if we add these two, what will be the result? Here it will be, and a carry will be generated. So when we are adding these 2 numbers, right, all this ALU 8-bit content will be 0, but this extra bit carry is generated. So in that case, carry flag will be set to 1. Now, if you are adding 2 numbers, say 08 and 08, what will happen? What will be the result? 0 0 0. 8 is this. 0 0 0 0. 8 is this. Okay. If you add 9 9, then what will happen? 9 9. So this will be 1. This will be 1. This will be 1. So 1 1 added. So this will be 0. Carry will come over here. Right, 1 0 0. So this will be 1. This will be 0. Now if 1 1 are added, this will be 0, and a carry will come over here. So this one is D3 bit. Right, this is D0, D1, D2, D3. So when these D3, D3 are added, result is 0, but carry is generated. Right, when we are adding D0, that time also result is 0 and carry is generated. But when we add these 2 bits, when we add D3, D3, right, and result is 0 and carry is generated, then auxiliary carry flag will be set to 1. Right, now if we have say 1 0, 1 9 1 9, if we add, 1919 if we add, then what will happen? This is 1, this is 1. So a auxiliary carry will be set and it will be 1 over. So 1, 1, 1. So this will be 1. Again, next carry will be generated. So auxiliary carry will be set only when the, okay, we will discuss this flag register in detail later on. So we have a flag register which actually reflects the result of arithmetic and logical operation. Based on the result, right, different flags are set: zero flag, carry flag, auxiliary carry flag, parity flag, and sign flag is there. So 5 different flags are there, and these flag changes based on the result of arithmetic logical operation, right? Next, you can see instruction register is there. So instruction from memory comes over here, right? Then it is decoded, and based on this, after decoding, this system actually encodes the machine cycles. So how many machine cycles? So fetch cycle is over, then machine cycles will be encoded, and based on those machine cycle, processor will work and it will execute the instruction, right? Now here, what we see, whatever general purpose registers are there, right, all are connected to this internal data bus. Now suppose we have in instruction say add B. So how B register content will be added? So I'm just saying over here that suppose B content is 4, 5 and A content is 4, 5. So how these two will be added? If add B comes over here in this instruction register, if add B comes in this instruction register, then this 45, this B register content will be taken out and it will be loaded to temporary register over here, right? And then this arithmetic logic unit will perform the add operation. Why? Because after this decoding, right, here our SU command will be 0. So it will perform A plus B. So what will happen? 4, 5 plus 4, 5. What will be the result? It will be 8A will be the result. So 8A will be the result. 8A means 1 and A will 1, 0, 1, 0. So during this addition, right, 4, 0, 1, 0, 0, 5, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. During this addition, we don't have any auxiliary carry. We don't have also final carry also. So, right, 0 flag is not going to set because result is non-zero, right? Number of ones are actually odd. So parity flag is also not going to set, but this sign flag will be set to 1 because this D7 bit is 1. So anyway, sign all these flag contents will be modified according to result. So result will be how much? 8A. Now this 8A will be stored back in the accumulator. So before storing back into the accumulator, this 8A will go to temporary register, and from temporary register to it will go over here. Right? It will go over here. So 8A will be the final result. Now suppose next command is a move B comma A, right? So if move B comma A is the command, if move B comma A is the command, how it will transfer the content of accumulator to B register. Suppose accumulator content is 78, right? And B content is say 4, 5, right? So now we want to transfer the accumulator content which is 78 to B register. Then how it will be done? First of all, this will be outed and it will be stored in this temporary register, right? And from this temporary register, it will go to B register, right? So 8 bit. So first of all, it will do what? Enable A. then it will do load temporary, right, in one clock pulse. During say this Tx, it is doing these two E8 LT, EA LT bar it is doing. Then during next clock pulse, it is doing what? Enable T. Enable T will be active over here, and then LV bar, right, will be active during Ty, right? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Now, in order to transfer this data from say A register to B register, first of all, it is transferring the A register content to temporary, and then from temporary to B register. So it is taking 2 clock pulses to perform this operation. But, right, it will be faster to transmit this data, which is in the accumulator, directly to B register. So during Tx itself, if you do EA and LT bar, then what will happen? No, not LT bar, LB bar, right? LB bar, if you do during Tx only, what will happen? 78 will come out from here and it will be loaded to this. So what's the point of having two T states over here? Hello? What's the point of using two T states when we can transfer data using a single T state? Hello? Anyone? In fact, probably I have discussed all these things in laboratory class of say section B students, right? So that time I have discussed that we have around in order to perform the arithmetic, logical, or any operation, whether it is reading data from memory or whether it is writing data onto the memory, whether it is doing arithmetic operation or logical operation between the two register contents, right? Data transfer takes place. Suppose we have to add L register. So L register has to be transferred to temporary, right? L register has to be transferred to temporary, and A plus L will be performed and data will be stored back in the accumulator. Now if I do this instruction, say DCRL, right, this is arithmetic instruction, it will decrement the L register. So how it will decrement? It will transfer this content to temporary, and from here it will be decremented. T will be decremented T minus 1. Then this result will be stored back in this temporary, right? So T minus 1 will be over here, and from this T minus 1 will go back to L. So suppose it is 08, it goes to temporary 08. Here it is 08 minus 1 is performed. Then it is result is stored back over here. This will be 07. Then this 07 is stored back in the L register if DCRL is executed. So even though it is arithmetic operation or logical operation, memory read, memory write, or instruction fetch, data transfer takes place, right? And during this data transfer, right, the system has to generate a control word or command or micro instruction. Now, if we keep on generating the different commands for each and every data transfer, if for each and every data transfer, if say micro instructions are generated, then our size of control room is going to be large, right? So if we put a temporary register in between while any data transfer, so suppose we have 8 register. So how many different commands will be there? 8 is to 8, 64 different commands will be there, right? So 64 different unique micro instructions will be needed for 64 different data transfer commands, right? Now, suppose we have a temporary register in between. So 8 temporary 8. So 8 to temporary will be how many? 8 to temporary will be 8 micro instruction, and temporary to 8 will be 8 micro instruction. So you need only 16 micro instruction for implementing 64 different data transfer, right? But in this case, you have to use 2 clock pulses. In one case, it will transfer from 8 to temporary, register 8 to temporary, and then temporary to. So this is actually used, right? It is just for decreasing the size of control room, right? We will discuss this in detail when we will discuss the move command, MOV, right? MOV command, right? So temporary register, flag register, this all are there. BC, DE, HL, all are 8-bit register. Here, stack pointer is of 16-bit, 16-bit. So, but this stack pointer is actually divided in two 8-bit. This is SPH, stack pointer higher order byte, SPL, stack pointer lower order byte. So, and program counter is also PCH, PCL, right? So if you want to read the content of program counter, if you want to, right, copy the content of program counter onto some register, that time again copying will be done 8-bit, 8-bit, right? So you should not say this, it is a program counter is a single counter having, right, how many? 16 flip-flops. In fact, it is 2 counters, right? You can divide this 16-bit in 2 bytes, right? Similarly, stack pointer is a 16-bit register, right? You can divide this one in 2 bytes, SPL lower order byte and SPH higher order byte, similar to this H and L register, and you can treat them separately, right? But whenever you need, you can check these values SPH, SPL, and you can copy them. You can see them on the display, right? Then you can see we have address and data buffer over here. So you can see here program counter, stack pointer, HL, DE, BC, all are connected to this address buffer, right? It is of 8-bit, and it is address and data buffer. All these registers, BC, DE, HL, and this PC are connected to address data buffer. So you need to understand, right, which are the registers connected over here. Here it is B, D, H, SPH, and PCH is actually coming over here. And here it is C, E, L, SPL, and PCL is coming to this address slash data buffer. ये address slash data buffer slash data buffer is this, right? So this is 16-bit, right? 16-bit contains B, C, D, E, H, L, SPH, SPL, PCH, PCL, right? And it is divided over here. So it goes to corresponding address data buffer and address buffer. Next, this AD0, AD7, it's something present in this data bus, can go to any part of the CPU, or from any part of the CPU, data can come out and it will be over here. Any part of the CPU, data can come and it will be in address data buffer, right? And if data is coming into this, it can go to any part of the CPU, right? In this address buffer, right? Only higher order.
Sir, we have a class now.
Sir, we have class now.
Okay, okay. So I am just saving this. Tomorrow we will continue. Not a problem.